Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to discuss the uneasiness of magical practices and the hidden gnosis. Most individuals on social media who claim to be practitioners do not like to share their knowledge. They don't like to share their understanding because of either shyness or they're going by what they've been told or taught by a coven setting. Most of the time, it's based off the witch's pyramid, which is to will, dare, to know, and to keep silent. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this particular topic is that individuals want to learn the arts and the practices. They really want to know how to change their life. They want to know how to change their world. Okay. And how do you do that if you do not share what you know, what you've practiced, what you've studied, your own personal experiences? Okay. A lot of the time, when you quote something, you get accused of something, and it causes that mischievousness where the individual backs off because they think that they've been attacked and don't know what to do or to make of it. These individuals are the type that know that they can keep good people down by not allowing them to get up into the public. Okay. Look at social standings as first class citizens versus second class citizens and third class citizens. Prime example right here of the knowledge level. Okay. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Now, why is that? Okay. And how can the knowledge, the gnosis, help you better your understanding? Okay. Especially from a magical, supernatural, or spiritual nature. Okay. Be it of an herbalist, a demonolator, a gnostic, druid, witch, shaman, whatever. Now, how can you benefit your life as an individual? How can you benefit from your magic? Okay. You look at E.A. Koetting. He built an empire because Azazel told him that he would have an empire, that he would have his empire. Okay. Now, I can't speak to if that's true or not, but you look at what he's done. He's taken his magic, he's continuously dedicated to the arts, he's sharing the knowledge. He's also been attacked several times. He's gotten up and come back 10 times more potent. Okay. Myself, I've created my own empire through knowledge. The Order of the Black Thorn is an order based off knowledge and understanding. It is about unity within all the magical, the supernatural, and the physical realities of knowledge to benefit you. It is a system of overall workings. Okay, much in the same way as what E.A. Koetting is doing, just on another level. Okay, instead of breaking it down into, say, for example, Norse magic versus black magic versus demonolatry versus, say, for example, Paleomayumbi. Okay, instead of doing one system at a time, You're seeing it from a whole wide range of systems. You're seeing the similarities, you're seeing the differences. Okay. But in most groups, especially on social media, this is frowned upon. It is looked down upon. Those of you out there who have been out there on, say, for example, Facebook, asked to teach, and you start sharing your knowledge from various different styles and traditions, and you utilize, say, for example, let's go with the Black Raven, also known as the threefold coercion of hell, or the sacred magic of Abramelin the Mage, the clavicle of Solomon, or the constitution of Pope Honorius. Somebody's going to get a hair across their butt. I believe the term is butthurt these days. You know, you might as well just say it what it is. They get a hair across the ass, and they report you, or they sit there and the individual ends up getting gangbanged by bullying and slander. Okay. Even though in the group rules, it clearly says respect one another, no bullying. And yet, when you stick up for yourself, you get booted from that group. Okay. Or you end up getting accused of plagiarism. Okay. Now, the thing that you have to realize is that by knowing your rights as an individual, both from a political point of view of religion or philosophy, down to your physical rights as an individual citizen of your independent country. Okay? Learn the laws. If you're a member of the United States of America, remember this: you have the Freedom of Religion Act, okay, which is political, it is governmental, okay, it is a protected religion. You have a foundation, you have a philosophy, you have you have scriptures, okay. And here's the thing: a lot of people do not realize the fact that if you go underneath what is called the religious land use and personalized, and again, I'm going to say this again, personalized religious acts, scroll down to equal terms, you will see that no individual, sect, assembly, or organization has a right to limit or deny you, your religious philosophy. Now, Facebook, for an example, is an American based company. Okay. Therefore, they have to abide by American law. Okay. This means federal because their company is national, it's international. Okay. It's worldwide. Therefore, they have to abide by the laws of the land, specifically that of the founding land, which in this case happens to be America. Okay. Now, when you come down off that, you can go into the Constitution. The First Amendment states that church and state is separate for a reason. Okay. And this comes down to two different bases here. On one hand, you have what is called the Ramsey's Law. The Ramsey's Law protects companies, okay, especially their employees. They get to judge how you dress when you are at work. There's a dress code. Their company is mandated to obey the law. Okay. They're mandated to make sure that their employees are safe. So if you're working at, say, for an example, FedEx Ground, obviously you won't have Horcruxes on. Okay. You won't have talismans or amulets on. Okay. Your shirt, you're not going to be wearing loose clothing because that would be a danger to the individual. Okay. So, in the same way, the company can mandate its regulations when it comes to spiritual belief systems. Whereas the constitutional right, okay, will tell you that you have a moral right to believe in what you choose to. Therefore, your independent rights are protected by governmental law. Now, this can be broken down into federal, state, and what is called classified as borough. Okay? Boroughs are your districts. Your independent state has another variation of it. And then you have the federal government, which is there to protect your rights as an individual. Okay? Now, this is just simple knowledge that you can find out on your own by getting into political aspects, by getting into your religious higher belief systems. Okay? Especially that of Gnosis. And Gnosis in occultism means hidden, that which is hidden. Okay? So you really have to go and seek that out. All right? Now, as for the belief systems, there are many belief systems out there. And the independent individual can go out and share your knowledge. Okay? You're going to make enemies. That's part of being an occultist. That is what is part of being a sorcerer or a sorceress. Okay? And I can tell you that I've made my fair share of enemies. I showed up a woman in her own group because she claimed one thing and she did not back it up. And yet I backed it up with physical evidence, and it made her look like an idiot. Since then, she has attacked me numerous times. And now her girlfriend has been attacking me as of late. Okay? Which is interesting because it is a chain reaction within the herd conformity. Now, herd conformity is when instead of fitting in as an individual, you're doing what everybody else wants. Basically, you're looking at these people. Okay, they're doing this. This group's doing that. And where are you? Where do you fit in? Okay. But instead of figuring out where you fit in as an individual, you just go along with what everyone else is doing. Okay. So this here is herd conformity. It is not individualism. Okay. And a lot of times it is a chain reaction that takes place and things get out of control. It gets out of hand. Okay. Next thing you know, you've got an entire group gunning for your head. Or you got a bunch of people just following what somebody else has said with no physical attributes to back it up, no physical evidence whatsoever. Or they'll just sit there and type in a name underneath Google, and it doesn't matter if it's about you or someone else, they'll try to pin that on you. Okay. This has been done to me a couple of times in my life within my career as a sorcerer. So don't be surprised if somebody hates you because you're sharing your knowledge, because you're sharing your expertise, your wisdom, what you've experienced, okay, throughout your journey into your own individual practice, okay? But keep in mind also that you have two settings here as well in this particular arena. On one hand, you have your spiritual journey, your particular path of magic. Okay. But then you have what is called the coven based journey. Okay. Now, the difference between an individual who's also known as a solitary practitioner and that of a coven member is when you're in a coven setting, you basically are learning from that coven, that particular coven. Now, a lot of people nowadays are utilizing the term warlock. Okay. And a lot of people are getting a hair across their ass because they've been taught that a warlock is an oath breaker, a betrayer. You can even go underneath Google and do a 2-second Google search and find this out for yourself. But here's the thing I'm going to give you three references right now. Hans Holzer, in his book Witches, underneath devil worship, or and witches and warlocks and stuff like that, which I believe is chapter 12 or chapter 15 area in that book. It's about 3/4 into that book, so it's a pretty thick book. He speaks of a warlock as being a solitary practitioner, someone who has practiced the form of magic, most commonly a form of conjuration, okay, like spiritual invocation and evocation. But instead of settling for one style, tradition, or form, they master all. And he even compared a warlock to what is classified as a modern day hand of trick movement by an illusionist. Now let's go on to Christopher Penziak. In his book, The Temple of Outer Witchcraft, he talks a little bit about a warlock on page 8, or is it page 7 or page 8, and then again on page 27. On page 7 or page 8 in this book, he describes a warlock as just being a name for a male witch. But a witch is a witch, plain and simple. It has nothing to do with warlock. It has nothing to do with sorcerer or anything. But yet then he contradicts himself a little bit on page 27, okay, where he describes in detail of a warlock as being just a title, okay? A title being a wizard, a warlock, a sage, a mage, a brujo, okay? A priest, a priestess. It's just a title, okay? And the reason for this is because of the fact that, number one, he's declaring his own belief system. Two, he's stating that for generations, most practitioners, male or female, were just categorized as being a witch. But then you have to take into consideration the last 200 to 300 years. Halloween or All Hallows Eve has shifted, okay? Since costumes were invented, little kids, specifically daughters, tend to dress up as witches. Okay. So then, this also with modern day paganism and modern day witches, such as Wiccans and pagans, they don't allow a male to have any form of power. If you end up becoming a priest, you bow down to the priestess, not the other way around. Okay. So you got to take that into consideration. But here's the other thing. When you look at it, much of the belief system is from a coven-based setting. And this is where it's going to be. This is where the term warlock got its connotation as an oathbreaker and betrayer. Because if you stepped outside of that coven, that particular style, tradition, or form, or what is being taught in that particular coven, and go to a different coven, you're an oathbreaker because you betrayed your oath to that coven. You betrayed your oath to the gods and goddesses practiced and worshipped by that specific coven. Okay? Now, as for a solitary practitioner can flat out study whatever they want without burdens, without biasness, without chaos. Why? Because they have no grounds for responsibility towards a group of people. And Facebook today is much like a based setting. When you start sharing your knowledge, people are going to take notice. A lot of people will simply follow you. They will simply follow you because you're sharing knowledge. They're gathering that knowledge that you have worked so hard to learn, to grasp. They're utilizing your experiences so that they can take shortcuts in their own magical works and claim it for their own. Okay? But then you have those few practitioners who really are practitioners, and they're backing it up by not only doing the work themselves, they're studying. Look at S. Ben Cayenne, Frank White, E.A. Coetting, Asenath Mason, Stephanie Connolly Reeser. Okay? You got Curtis Joseph. You got Behemoth X. Okay? You got DJ Qualls. was it? No, not TJ. Was it TJ? DJ, TJ something. It's associated with EA Quedding's group. Okay. All these practitioners have made something of their lives through rituals, through mystical and magical workings. Hey, Angela, how's it going? And then, they built something from it, an empire, if you wish. Okay. Now I'm going to tell you how to do this. Okay. In fact, instead of telling you how to do this, I'm going to show you how to do this. And I'm going to specifically recommend a book that you can purchase on Amazon. And it was written by Myrmidon Pontifex Maximus. Okay. And it's called Tentatio Diabolis. And it's a 3-in-1 book. Okay. It's 3 books in one. The first one is called The Devil's Bible. Okay. This sets a philosophical output. Okay. To your specific group. Okay. In this case, it is a traditional satanic book. Okay. And I know what you're thinking. Satanism, oh, I want nothing to do with that, right? Well, put it like this. You're not getting into Satanism for that. Okay. If you're going to get into Satanism, do it for yourself, not for somebody else's belief system. Okay. If it's something that intrigues you, something that interests you, go ahead and do it. But the Devil's Bible sets a philosophical standpoint. Okay. Much in the same way as Anton Zan de la Vey's Bible, Satanic Bible, that came out back in 1960, what was it, 1969, I think, area. And what's interesting about this is the first half of Anton Zan de la Vey's Bible sets a physical philosophy, leaving the second half of the book, which is the Book of Belial and the Book of Leviathan, open for interpretation. Okay? Much like that, so too is the Devil's Bible. Okay? But then you can get into the second book, which is called The Devil's Disciple. Okay? This book gives you the layouts of rules, regulations, and a viewpoint of a foundation to open up a physical practice for yourself. But then you have what is called the Devil's Coven. This actually tells you between the Devil's Disciple and the Devil's Coven how to open up your own order, your own temple, your own church. If you're interested in having your own coven, guess what? Bam, right there. It's showing you exactly how to do it. And it's giving you prime examples. Okay? Myrmidon Pontifex Maximus is a wise man. He laid out a perfect, at least in my own opinion, a perfect environment. Okay? And this is coming from a Satanist himself. Okay? I'm not only a traditional Satanist, I'm a medieval Satanist. I practice from a medieval standpoint. Okay? But I'm also a sorcerer, a black magician, a career black magician. Not only have I utilized this knowledge to call on beings such as demons, angels, the jinn, and spirits to help walk me through things, but also to help me benefit through knowledge, learning from them. And you can do the same. And as Angela here knows all too well, when I recommend something, you know it's good. She's not only one of my charges, but she was also a student of mine, an apprentice. She's also one of those type of beings, people who I highly respect because she doesn't take things at face value. She goes out and does the work herself. That shows motivation, okay? And in return, these great beings, demons, angels, the jinn, spirits, they're going to see this and they're going to work in your life. They're going to want to get to know you. It's that mutual relationship, okay? So I recommend Tentatio Diabolis to you, but I also recommend Voca Kalakis Oriak's book, the book of the Divine Black Flame of Satan, which, from what I understand from a mutual publisher friend of ours, is the fact that he's coming out with a new one called the Divine, or is it the Book of the Divine Black Flame of Satan Bible? Okay, which not only has all seven templates of the Divine Black Flame of Satan, but it's also got Tentatio Diabolus. It's also got the Satanic Oracles in it, from what I understand. Now, I'm actually looking to get this book myself. So, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I'll probably pick it up on Thursday or on Friday night when I get paid. But when it comes to spiritual unions and helping yourself benefit, not only in your magic, but also in your physical life. Now, here is where I'm going to get into that. Okay. Now, up until this point, I've discussed books. I've discussed philosophies, and I've discussed your political religious rights. Okay. From 2 point of views. Okay. From an individual to a company. Okay. And I broke it down into the 3 stages: federal, state, and borough or district. Okay. Because each one of these has a different outlook. Okay. But now I'm going to get into it and show you how to literally utilize the magic to help you. Okay. In this case, communing with demons, such as the 9 infernal kings, can be broken down into persuasion, knowledge, and sciences. Okay. 9 fallen angels, broken down into 3 groups. That's 3 per group. Okay. Now, I can tell you that I've personally worked with King Belial. I have personally worked with Paimon. Okay. And both of these 2 beings have opened up my world in a huge way. Now, much in the same way as E.A. Coetting, I ran into a little bit of legal action about a year or 2 ago. It was my own stupidity. It was my own stupidity on that one. So I had to take responsibility for it. But I called upon these 2 beings, and I called upon the 9 infernal kings of the Goetia. Okay. And next thing I know, I came out of this legal issue with only owing $625. That's out of $2,000 in potential jail time. Okay. And that's something that's quite interesting in itself, is how these beings can work with you. Okay. Now, the reason I bring this up is to show the point that they will move in your life. If you're willing to be self-motivated and work with them, they're willing to meet you halfway. They want to change your life. They want to teach you. They want to educate you. But you've got to be able to do the work. You've got to open your eyes, open your ears, and listen to see. Okay? Because the blind cannot lead the blind. You'll end up in a heap of trouble. You hear without hearing. Well, you see without seeing, guess what? You're going to end up just like the herd conformity. But through rituals of evocation and invocation, by working with the various different styles, traditions, and formats of magic out there, from, say, for an example, Egyptian pantheon, Native American pantheon, European, Germanic, Welsh, Norse, Greek, Roman. Okay, there's so many different pantheons out there, and the gods to go along with it. These individuals can help you. For an example, in voodooism, which originated from the Yoruba people in Africa, you have what is known as Baron Sedi. Baron Sedi is the Lord of the Dead. Okay? Much like blood sorcery and necromancy through chiromancy, that sorceress Cagliostro spoke of. By smearing blood on the mirror or the scrying mirror, you can actually delve into the spirit realm, become one with them, but don't get too close because they will attack you, according to her. Okay, because you're still part of the living. Okay, but in demonolatry, they just want a sacrifice, an honest sacrifice. 3 drops of your blood, guess what? Sacrifice made. It's earnest, it's popular. It's not popular, but it's how should I say this? It's more of the fact that they want to feel alive again, on one hand. On the other hand, they expel a lot of energy coming across dimensions, multiverse versus universal versus planes of existence from across the world just to meet with you. Some will make you work for it, whereas others are right there willing to be there and step in and go, okay, I'll make a deal with you. Whereas others will be baneful. Does this mean that they're baneful to you as the practitioner? No. For an example, when we delve into demonolatry, we know that Emma Iman, the teacher and the twin flame of Lucifer, has the same breath like daggers that pierces the practitioner's skin, their flesh, in the same way that Astaroth, the Grand Duke, has. Silver ring. Okay. Silver Orcrux. Okay. That's just on my left hand. 2 on my right, and a gold. Okay. Now, each one of these, when you held a silver ring, a magical Orcrux, to your face, it is a protection against that piercing breath. Okay? But it is well worth working with these beings. And all they require from you is dedication, loyalty, and trust. I don't know about a lot of you, of where you come from. You know, Angela here comes from a Christian background. I've spent almost a decade associating with the Hebraic systems. I went to 4 different churches trying to learn their philosophy, their ways. And I can tell you earnestly that their God never did one thing for me. Not Jesus, not Yahweh, not Yazad, not Allah, nothing. But yet, working with these demons, taking that baptism, that aligning myself with their energies, have gotten me so much further in life. And Angela can actually vouch for this because she's known me for years. Just about, what is it, almost a decade now? It's been at least, what, 6 years, 7? If not, maybe a little bit longer. Because I met you around the time that I met up with Brian. And it's been, wow, yeah, it's been just about that long. So, yeah, time flies when you're having fun. But anyways, working with these beings, you're going to come across a lot of things, a lot of challenges. On a lot of topics, they're going to expect you to do what you do and do it yourself. Whereas other times, they're going to step in and just make it happen. Okay? It's like in tarot card readings. If you remove yourself from the equation, the reading is more accurate. There's no biasness. Your will is not getting involved. You use yourself as a conduit, and they work through you through a form of channeling. Okay. Channeling is a very good way to commune with beings because not only can they take part in yourself, as in your own body, but they can give you messages through chiromancy, divination in today's world. Okay. And literally, yeah, it has been that long, hasn't it? Like I said, I was figuring about probably about 6, 7 years, but yeah, 5 is around that area. I know it's been a while. So yeah, through chiromancy, you can get in. They can give you the messages that you need, and having Orcroxes has a direct link to these beings, especially when you can't get to your altar room, when you can't get to where you need to be to get in touch with them. Just simply thinking about them, acknowledging them at certain times of the day, like say 2 or 3 times a day. You can be on the job and all of a sudden start, saying, for example, "Hail Satan, the witch father. Thank you for what you do for me. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for guiding me." You know, that's acknowledgement. Okay, by going, having an altar coin in your pocket or in your purse. Okay, same thing. It's a 5-pointed star with a circle. Okay, this is a mini altar, but you can also utilize it as an Orcrox, a mini altar. Go into the restroom, take it out, look at it, stare at it, feel it, and let it guide you. Pour your energy into it. Your katra, your chi, same exact thing. So it doesn't really matter what path you're on. You can be a shaman and work in both worlds, light and dark, living and the dead, or the spiritual realm, as it's called. You can worship the god and goddess in a pagan setting, or a Wiccan setting, or a Wicca, for that matter. You can get into just a male god if you wish to get into demonolatry or angelology. Get into Christianity, Islam, the Hebraic systems, whatever. I can tell you that knowledge, the best historical keepers, happens to be the Hebraics, because they've conquered so much of the world that they've got, literally, especially the Catholics, have a huge library. Much of the tomes, much of the old scrolls, the old tablets are sitting in museums worldwide that you can go and study if you wish on a daily basis when you're not working. Or you can sit down and learn to open yourself up, learn to channel, learn to utilize evocation if you don't mind them coming into your body. Okay? If you don't want them in your body, then go with invocation. Bring them forth through your altar room, through your pentagram, through your devil's gates, if you wish. If you're utilizing Solomonic rituals, such as the keys or clavicle of Solomon, the planetary aspects. Okay? So there's many different paths. There's different practices. There's different methods and different tools that date back hundreds, if not thousands of years, that you can utilize to benefit your life. Herbalism is a huge thing. I actually helped a guy out, a friend of mine out, that I'm friends with on Facebook. I put together a hex bag, or a gristris bag, with rosemary, basil, was it sea salt, was it amber, and thyme. Okay, 5 ingredients in that one gristris bag. Just a small velvet black gristris bag, and I put it in my pocket. I ended up getting double the pay that week. And I put it on Facebook, and I explained how to do it. A friend of mine finished out his term who normally gets around $300 to $400. He ended up getting over $700, $800 by the end of his quarter. Okay, his weekly quota. That's $300 to $400 more just by utilizing that simple recipe that I put together. Okay. Now, I'm the kind of guy that will tell you that I follow other sorcerers, other practitioners, like E.A. Coetting, S. Ben, S. Connolly, Curtis Joseph, E.A. Asenath Mason, Curtis Joseph. You know, I follow Frank White, and Frank White lately has been getting these a lot of these tutorials of what do they call those? Attestments or testaments, rather, I should say, of how good of a practitioner Frank White is, because he's helped them and his magic actually works. Okay, either by chiromancy, such as tarot card readings, which is cardomancy, or by some other magical format, you know, another formulae. All right. So, I mean, there is a lot of different ways. You can use alchemy. I started using linguistics. I started using herbalism. I started using alchemy, alchemical symbols, numerology, even blood sorcery, black magic. And my practices went right through the roof. And now, over the last 5 years, since 2013, I've been sharing my knowledge not only on YouTube, but also on Facebook. Okay. So keep that in mind, that just because something fails or that you come up against a brick wall, such as legal action, or say, for an example, you're getting bullied, doesn't mean that it's not working. It just means you have to go back to the drawing board and critique it, learn from it, grow, you know. And if you know your shit like myself, or, you know, from things that I've practiced over the last 28 years, if not E.A. Coetting, S. Ben, you know, S. Ben Cayenne is one hell of a practitioner. And some of the things he's come up with, holy crap. I mean, he's even taught me a lot, you know. And Frank White actually helped me learn channeling a lot easier. You know, I mean, I've had a hard time channeling, but through his videos, he's actually shown me methods to better my channeling experiences. And I know that he can do the same thing for you, just like E.A. Coetting and all the others that I've named off. But here's the thing. Don't be surprised if you start talking to people and all of a sudden you're getting the same stories back. For an example, my brother Brian, in Coven member, he and I were sitting there communing last night over the phone, and I found out, I told him what had happened to me during a meditation experience when I was doing that. I wouldn't say it's a meditative, experience, but it was more of a ritual that I did on here on YouTube and last night. And I told him, I said, you know, it felt like somebody just put fire and brimstone in my throat, because my throat was so dry. I kept coughing while I was trying to speak in Enochian, you know. And he goes, bro, dude, I'm trying to do Sigils this morning, and the same freaking thing happened to me. So that's what I'm talking about. You know, even E.A. Coetting has mentioned this in his videos a few times, is that once you start communing with other practitioners and learning from them, the same exact things you're going to see pop up, because it's called how should I say this? It's affirmation. It's confirmation that something's going on, that the spirits are moving, that instead of you doing something on your own, they're working behind the scenes, making something happen. Okay. Now, last night I did a live ritual, and I read the 18th Enochian key, the 16th and the 17th Enochian in that order. And then I went in and did the 30 acre Aries, the 30 Aries. And by the time I was halfway through the 30 Aries, I was coughing my freaking head off. Thought I was going to cough up a lung. And that goes to show you that the spirits will work through things. And they're going to show you that they're there in one formula or another. The temperature may grow hot. It may grow cold. It may go dead silent. You know, the candle flames may do something weird, like go straight towards the center. It may flicker. They may die down. You know, the smoke may intertwine with whatever offering you're giving, while another huge portion of it is just going straight up. Okay? So this is what I'm talking about. They work behind the scenes in ways that you and I cannot see. But it is that sensation, that sensing, by recognizing their energies, by aligning yourself with their energies, recognizing it, becoming sensitive to it, so that you know something's happening, so that you can feel their presence. This is where the work goes on. You know, I can say a lot about John Edwards. You know, and yes, I'm referring to the guy that claims to be an ex Palo Mayombe and Santeria practitioner turned Christian. Okay, the only reason he's saying this is because and you know, how should I say this? First of all, in every video that he does, he claims to be part of something else. In one video, he claimed to be an ex-Satanist, and another, an ex-Palo Mayombe, and another, an ex-Santeria, okay, Quimbanda practitioner, okay? Each video, he's coming up with new things. But the one thing that I can tell you that he actually had right is that when you align yourself with a spirit, with the forces of light or the forces of darkness, you belong to that side. Much in the same way as the Fae. Okay? The Fae are very powerful groups of individuals. They're more folk magic, but still, they're there. Okay? So keep that in mind, that every single practice out there has something in common with everybody else. Yeah, I know you do, Angela. You remember I'm the one that charged that coin up for you. Remember when you lost it and I told you exactly where it was? I described your living room in your old apartment. Hell, I actually did that to somebody else. Really freaked her out. But anyways, that's a whole nother story there. But anyways, when you're learning magic and learning how to benefit your life, there are many practices out there. You do not have to conform to any one that you don't want to. Okay? And for those of you who are wondering about the fur ball behind me up here, that's Harley. Not like the motorcycle. Well, actually, no, not Harley Quinn. Harley like the motorcycle. Okay? So that's one of three that's in this place. I don't know where the other two are, but they're probably in the bedroom. But in this case, trust the demons, trust the angels, trust the spirits that you're working with. If you don't believe in these spirits, get into alchemy, get into shamanism, get into herbalism, you know, and expand your practice through them. Okay. Now, if you want to become a spiritualist, really delve into the other forms of traditions, such as voodooism, hoodooism, Santeria, Palo Mayombe, Quimbanda, Umbanda. Okay. Um, Getting into Druidism, Satanism, witchcraft, same exact things. They're right there. So you always do have those two classifications of spiritual versus reality. Okay. Type sorcerers and sorceresses out there. So really, really work on that. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I will always make myself available to you. If I'm at work, it may take some time because when I'm at work, my cell phone is off and I will not reply unless I'm on my lunch break or it's either before or after work. Okay. But rest assured, I will make myself available to you and I will be here to help you along the line. All right. No matter how many people attack, I keep getting back up like a cockroach. And you know what? Even at the end of days, I will still be here. Why? Because I choose to haunt this world. But with that said, hope it's been educational. Hope it's been enlightening. With that said, this dark sorcerer is out for the day. Enjoy and have fun.